I'm tired, I'm cold, I'm just fed up, and it's day 2 of Polathon. So just to bring you up to speed, I am a co-host for Polathon, which is hosted by Jade from JD Reads, and we have team mascots, and I'm the team mascot for Team Walrus, and we have Sasha from the Wild Sasha, who is Team Arctic Fox. We have Aaron from Booked and Busy, who is Team Polar Bear, and Pris, who is Team Penguin. So that's all fine and well. Since yesterday, it is day 2 of Polathon, since yesterday there have been construction men working on the roof of my house, and for about 8-9 hours yesterday, all you could hear was loud banging on the roof of the house. It just meant that I couldn't get anything done. It was just too loud. I couldn't film. I couldn't even do the sprints. Jade did some reading sprints at 5 p.m. GMT yesterday, and I couldn't even join them because my internet went off too. So that happened, and honestly, I was like a little bit fed up at that point, so it was probably a good job I wasn't on the live show, because I would have been like, I don't know, I probably wouldn't have been myself. And then I think it was 11:30, 11:45 at night last night, there was a power cut in the entire neighborhood, so alarms were going off up and down the street. Oh my god, I was sick. The alarm was going off in the house, and like, it just all day yesterday was just constant noise. It's Tuesday now. The men who are doing the roof are now on a break, so they're just sitting in their vans, and I can't like open the windows, I can't open the blinds or anything. I've got them open now so I can get some natural light while they're on break. But it's just, I can't even get good footage of the snow outside either, because just the scaffolding's there, the men are there, and oh man, it's just a shit show at the minute. So yeah, not off to a great start for Polathon, to be honest. And I've been getting way less sleep as well because of it. So I was up at 8 a.m. yesterday morning, which is the earliest I've been up in a while, because usually I don't get to sleep until like 4 or 5 a.m. these days. I mean, I don't intend that to happen, it just happens. But today, I mean, again, because last night the power cut, it got back to normal about like 1-ish. And then, right, I was lying in bed trying to sleep, and I just heard something drop to the floor, and I was like, oh great, my roof's coming in. So I turned my light on, and my light bulb in my bedroom just randomly fell down. And I'm just like, what is going on? I'm cursed or something here. Someone's out to sabotage me for Polathon. It's probably Team Penguin, but there's definitely been some sabotage up in this bitch. So it was a little less noisy this morning, so I've been reading some more of my book. I'll let you know what I'm reading. Anyway, for Polathon, I have 5 books that I'm reading. So one is Root Magic by Eden Royce. I won't go through what these books are until I've read them, because I feel like it will just take up too much time if I do that. So Root Magic by Eden Royce, Race to the Frozen North, The Matthew Henson Story by Katherine Johnson, The Language of Ghosts by Heather Fawcett, The Ocean Squid Explorers Club by Alex Bell, and The Last Bear by Hannah Gold. So I have finished one of these, and I'm halfway through another. So the one I finished is Race to the Frozen North. So yesterday, like when Polathon started, when I hit midnight yesterday, I did a reading sprint with Jade on Instagram for an hour, and I started Root Magic then, and I had every intention of finishing it yesterday, but with all that noise I couldn't concentrate, and I was like, I need something really short, something really easy to get through, just to get me through this. So I ended up picking up Race to the Frozen North instead. This is a dyslexia-friendly book, so it's one that I can wholeheartedly recommend if you have any children who are dyslexic, and especially this month as well, with it being Black History Month in America. But this one is it is factual, it is based on true events, but Katherine Johnson has told it in a way that it comes across as fiction. I guess because this is a dyslexia-friendly book for children, that was the reason why Katherine done it, was to make it, I guess, more entertaining for kids who are reading this. I've never really read anything like it before, but it does tell the real life story of Matthew Henson, who was the first person to reach the North Pole, and because he was black, he didn't get the recognition he deserved back in the day over his white peers. It took absolutely years for him to get that recognition, and before that we actually go through his life and how he got there. He was actually a really adventurous and hard-working man before he even went on any of these expeditions. He escaped a really horrible family life. He managed to find work for himself, even with all of the oppression that he was facing. And he just kept on going. It's so inspirational to read about. He just kept going. He did not give up. And it led to him ending up going on this voyage for 6 years before the Arctic expeditions. But before that, he was on a ship, and he just proved himself to be such an asset to that crew, that his reputation did end up preceding him and leading him onto this Arctic expedition, which I think, if I recall rightly, it lasted 18 years. There was 18 years of him kind of going on this Arctic expedition trying to get to the North Pole with, you know, his white commander. And then when they finally do hit the North Pole, and this is all like based on true events, so it's not like spoilers or anything, but when they finally do reach the North Pole and stuff, and then months later they get back home, there was this story that was published by someone else claiming to have been the first person to have reached the North Pole, and it turned out that person was lying, but it just meant that when they returned, they didn't get like a kind of hero's welcome that they were supposed to. But even when it was revealed that the other person was lying, and it meant that Matthew and his crew were the ones who went there, because it was Matthew, his commander, who I already forgot his name, Commander Pierre, and then there were 4 Inuit people who had got there as well. But it was Matthew Henson who got to the North Pole first, because he was like ahead, Commander Pierre was like in a sleigh behind and things like that. So yeah, even when it was turned out that the other person had lied and Commander Pierre and Matthew Henson were the first ones there, it was still Commander Pierre who got all of the hero stuff. It was him who got the hero's burial when he died, and it was just like, it was a shit show really. Like, I felt really bad for Matthew, and even though years and years later Matthew did get a lot of the recognition, it felt a little bit too little too late. He didn't get a hero's burial even when he died. I think it was 30 years after he died when he did get a hero's burial alongside his wife. So it's just, honestly, like, they did take steps finally for that to happen, but the fact that he discovered the North Pole in 1909, and then I think it was in the 1980s when he finally got his hero's burial, it was like, wow, it just took way too long. But I feel like this is such a great story, and especially since it's a dyslexia-friendly book for kids, I thought it told the story so well, and it's one that I wholeheartedly recommend for people to pick up. So that was my first read. It's 118 pages long, so I thought it was short enough to get through, quick enough to get through, so I could not suffer so much yesterday. So I did get through that, and I really enjoyed it. So that was my first book for Polathon read. And I am currently 117 pages into Root Magic, and oh my god, I am loving this so much. This is my dive in Polathon prompt, which is to read a book you're really excited about, and I'm so excited about this. Even 117 pages into this, it's just, it hasn't let up, and I'm loving the atmosphere in this. The marshes, the way things are described, the smells, it's just, it's perfect so far. So yeah, I can't wait to finish reading this. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully those men are on like a 2-hour break or something, and I'll get a lot of that read today, hopefully finish today as well. So that is my first update for Polathon. So sorry that was really long, but yeah, I'm trying to get back into the routine of doing a vlog. I haven't done a vlog in so long, and I haven't even done a video in so long. I just haven't really been feeling the need to film. I want to film, but then I sit down and I'm like, I don't want to film. It's so weird. I can't decide what I want to do. I'm in that place where I just don't know what I want to do. I don't really want to read, but I kind of do. I want to write, but I kind of don't. You know, it's just, God, I think it's just one of those phases I'm going through that I'm just hoping to push past. Yeah, I think that's all I want to tell you about. I will hopefully see you in the next update, and the roof will have been done and everything. I can get some good shots of the snow, hopefully. But yeah, I will see you in a bit. Hiya, baby. What a week it has been. Crack open the bubbly. Sorry, I always say that meme now whenever I crack open the bottle of bubbly. I do apologise that I have not updated you all on anything. I have finished 3 books since I last updated you, so I have 3 little reviews to get started with. But we're going to open this first because I have an author interview tonight. It's in, gosh, when is it? An hour and 25 minutes time. So I'm cracking this open now. I'm so good at opening these now. So we are on day 5 of Polathon, and I have finished 4 books so far. I would have loved to have finished another book today, but I just haven't had a chance to read anything. I've been prepping for this interview tonight, which I am so excited about. I'm also really, really nervous about it as well, but that's fine. It's neither here nor there. It is with Benjamin Dean, the author of Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow. But also, look what Simon & Schuster sent me for it. I love it. I love it. I love these cardboard cutouts that I get, so that can go up when I do this interview, so I'm really excited about that. Also, yesterday, while I was watching G and Jade do reading sprints, I ended up colouring these pages, well, like spray in these pages or painting these pages. So these are the Adventures on Trains series, and I just always really wanted to put sprayed edges on them, and they definitely looked better before I separated the pages, but I still think they look really good. I decided to go for black for the first Adventures on Trains book, which is The Highland Falcon Thief. I would really recommend these books if you're after some really good middle grade mysteries. They're all set on trains, but they're all in like different locations. So this one is in England, this one's in America, and this one is in South Africa, and I genuinely do love the series. This one's the best one so far. I also think the green of this one is definitely the best one out of all of them, although the black of The Highland Falcon Thief is also stunning, if you ask me. So I really wanted to show them off because I was feeling a bit arts and craftsy. So the construction men, they're still here. I mean, not presently, but they are still doing stuff. They continued with the roof today, but I think they've started to take some of the scaffolding down from the front of the house. I'm still like scared to go out and ask them anything, so, and they don't ever tell me what's going on either, so it's kind of like a two-way relationship. Also, I've gotten to the point of lockdown where everything I iron, I just iron the front of the shirt, but usually just the top half as well. So last I heard, Team Walrus is in 2nd place. We need to change it ASAP, but I know my team Walrus have been phenomenal. This week, I am so proud of all of them Walruses. If you're watching this now and you are Team Walrus, I am so proud of you. You are incredible. Thank you so, so much for your dedication. Even if we don't win, I'm absolutely fine with that. Should I get on with doing these book reviews then? Because, yeah. So last I left you, I was reading Root Magic by Eden Royce, and I will tell you, this is my favourite book so far this year. Hands down, incredible. And I don't think I told you what this book is about because I wanted to read it first, but this does follow Jez and Jay. They are siblings, and they live in South Carolina in the 1960s. One day, Jez and Jay's gran dies, and she was always into root work, which is kind of like a family tradition. Root work is sort of like natural magic, so it's kind of like protecting the family, and against things like boo hags and is it Haines? It's Haines. I think it's Haines. Those are the kind of like creatures that live in this, and there's like marshes and it's really atmospheric. But Jez and Jay start to learn root work after their gran dies, and there's just like, I don't want to say what happens because there's like a storyline that I didn't know where it was going to go, and it kind of took me by surprise by the end of it. But I will say that, yeah, this is definitely one of the best middle grades I've read. The writing is flawless. Seriously, like the descriptions of the marshes with all the atmosphere and the fog and even just the creepy tones of it is just phenomenal. And also there's a lot of sensory writing as well, so I can really smell and touch and taste everything that was happening in this book. It's just... I just love it. I love it. I love the characters as well. Jez and Jay are fantastic protagonists. A lot of middle grade protagonists sometimes do like tick me off when they make all the wrong decisions. But I feel like Jez and Jay make some really smart decisions. They work well together, but they also butt heads a lot. And it's just a great, authentic sibling relationship that I just thought was so natural and so authentic. Ah, gosh, I need to drink. I've just brushed my teeth as well, so it's like, tastes a little bit minty. Anyway, I think it came out at like 9.43 or something on Copile. It's like really, really high. The plot, it kind of meanders a little bit. It's not as, you know, I wouldn't say that the entire thing is action-packed or anything like that. There is definitely a sort of a lull in the story, but to me, I didn't mind that at all because I thought it was really good at developing everything else outside of Jess and Jay as well. Like the family dynamics, second to none. Seriously, I absolutely loved the relationship with their mother. I loved the idea that root work is part of their family heritage. And I just love the exploration of kind of the strength of, you know, Jez and Jay's family in this as well. They are so phenomenally strong. They face adversity. There are some shitty police in this as well, but it does show a lot of the racism that happened in the 1960s in South Carolina. A lot of kids will just take so much from this as well as adults. Like, I would absolutely love it if everybody who is an adult would read this as well. Like, I cannot praise this book enough. Like, this is up there for me with Amari and the Night Brothers right now. It's just, it's high. It's phenomenally high. So yeah, I would totally recommend this. So this was my second read, and I finished this on Tuesday. Yeah, I finished this on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I finished The Last Bear by Hannah Gold. And this is an art copy. It comes out on the 18th of February in the UK. I also think it comes out in America this month as well, but I can't quite recall. This also gets a 4-star for me. I thought it was really, really good. I really enjoyed the atmosphere in this again. But this is set on Bear Island, which is really far north from Norway. And it's in the Arctic Circle. And it's just, it's so atmospheric. I absolutely love the icy setting of this. It's so barren, but it's also really dangerous, and you can feel the cold through this. It does follow a young girl called April, and she goes to this island with her father because her father's doing work, kind of keeping track of temperature changes, but it's them two and them two only on that island. Even though it's called Bear Island, there should be no bears on there because with the melting of the ice caps, bears can't really get to the island anymore, and if they do, they'd get stranded. So April does come across a polar bear who she calls Bear, and she strikes up a friendship with him. And it's really touching. I do think I enjoyed a lot of the aspects between Bear and April. I thought it was so good at describing the seriousness of the situation we're in with the planet and the melting of the ice caps and how polar bears are getting endangered. And there's just so much to unpack in this, and I think it was done really, really well. It just got quite emotional at the end, so do bear that in mind if you go into this. I don't want to upset you guys, but yeah, there is like, it does get a little bit emotional at the end. However, I thought it was a really, really good read. The only thing for me is that you really do have to suspend your disbelief. Even though this is contemporary, it's not fantasy, you do kind of have to kind of ignore a lot of stuff that happens to kind of believe what's going on, which, I mean, I didn't mind doing that, but I think it was when it came to April and her father, it was like really hard to oversee that because her father was very neglectful, and I just don't understand how he would be able to not notice that his daughter is going missing for hours upon hours on end, getting up to adventures with a polar bear and seeing, you know, stockpiles of food going missing as well. It's just little bits like that I just found a little bit too unbelievable. I do wish her father had paid just a bit more attention. Yeah, I think that's just like a really nitpicky thing for me. I do think this is going to be worth a read. I think this will be an important read for a lot of kids. I think they're going to take so much from the environmentalism in this book and wanting to make change. I think this will help to inspire kids to want to make change for this planet. It is 300 pages long, but it is like, in height, it's quite a short book, so you kind of just like find yourself flicking through the pages. So it's really fast paced in that regard. I can't wait to see the final illustrations by Levi Pinfold. There wasn't any illustrations in this, but I have seen little bits and bobs online of the illustrations of this, and it does look absolutely gorgeous. So I feel like this is also a book that would benefit from those illustrations. So I will definitely get the final book when it's out, because I think it is like quite a beautifully told book with very important messages. And then one that I'm going to really struggle to tell you much about is The Language of Ghosts by Heather Fawcett. This got a very low 4 stars for me. I just, for me, the intrigue just wasn't really there. So this does follow a princess who gets exiled from her kingdom, and she ends up on this magical moving island. The princess is called Noah, and she is a pretty good protagonist to follow. She has a younger sister called Might, and honestly, she doesn't really treat her younger sister very well. Like, I totally get the fact that she's annoying every now and then, but I got a little bit taken away from the story just because of how she would treat her sister. But then we also have her older brother Julian, and he has these like dark kind of powers. He's a little bit morally grey. He doesn't make some of the best decisions, and I loved his character. I thought he was really well done, and I liked the dynamic, apart from the fact that, you know, she would treat her little sister like shite. Oh, mate. And her name's Mike, so she might like shite. The characters aside, I just didn't really find... I found it a little bit slow going, so I found it really hard to get into the story because she is exiled from her kingdom, so she's looking for a way to sort of reclaim her kingdom's throne. Her kingdom's throne, yeah, that's right. But it came across as a little bit too political for me, so I feel like a lot of people will really enjoy this book. It was a little bit too political for my taste, which isn't a bad thing really, but my interest wasn't really altogether there. The reason why it's a 4-star though is like the way Cole Pyle came out of it, because I can't really fault the writing. I thought the writing was really good. Again, atmosphere was really good, and I really did enjoy the characters, especially Julian. But I did really like the kind of magic system in this as well. It's quite nice. I like the world. The interest just dropped the rating for me, so yeah, for that reason alone, I can't really tell you too much about it. I do absolutely love the sea monster that moves the island. She's called Beauty, and she is like funny, but like also a little bit sinister every now and then. So I kind of like that juxtaposition between being really freaky but also being really hilarious. I did absolutely love Beauty. I thought she was one of my favourite characters as well. But yeah, I guess that's all I can really tell you about this book, because I just didn't care that much. But the Cole Pyle does make it a 4, but like I would give this a 3 if it wasn't for Cole Pyle. I think I would give this a 3. So far it's probably my least favourite out of all of them so far. I am currently reading The Ocean Squid Explorers Club by Alex Bell now, and I'm only a chapter in really, because I started reading this and then I thought, you know what, I really want an audiobook because I've been reading everything physical. So I listened to The Language of Ghosts yesterday. It might also be why I didn't really find it that intriguing as well, was because of the audiobook. I am so excited to read this one. This is set in the Polar Bear Explorers Club world, and we follow Ursula, who is part of the Ocean Squid Explorers Club. And now these explorers are allowing girls to join their expeditions and things because of Stella from the first Polar Bear Explorers Club series. So I don't know what's going on so far because I am only a chapter in. So far I like Ursula, but I don't really know what's going to be, you know, the plot or anything just yet. But I can't wait to find out. I will be reading this tonight. I think me and Jade are going to do like a midnight kind of sprint tonight, so that'll be really fun. But to be fair, it is only like, nearly 7 o'clock now, and I still have this interview in an hour. I am drinking now, so who knows? Like, I might be tipsy or I might be really tired. Cheers. Today I am celebrating and interviewing the incredible author of a brand new book called Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow, and that is Benjamin Dean. Can I get a round of applause, everyone? Hello, everyone. It's what a surprise to see you here, Jade. What's going on? Why are you here? What?
Just decided to pop along. The door was open. I thought, oh, looks cozy in there. I thought I'd nip in.
You popped along to my walrus igloo. I had to remember what that was called, though.
And we are live. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well today. We're just here to do some reading sprints. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure you will know us all. If not, I was going to say our names are here, but we currently have a user, apparently.
We have a new guest here. Hi, I'm new. Just started with Tube.
I was playing Animal Crossing, so I had my phone like between my knees to hold it up whilst we were on FaceTime, whilst I was busy with my hands playing Animal Crossing. And then Jake delivered me some pizza, and Pris, with her face between my knees, saw the pizza and went, yum, 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 yum. She was between my legs.
Wow. Recreate it now, Pris. Recreate it now. Show us how you did it. Change your dinner plans.
Everyone composed. Are we all breathing?
Yes. Yeah. Don't set us off.
Ready?
Yes. Turn your camera off, Pris. I swear to God. Turn your camera off. And Team Flop as well. That was a little scary, but also a little sexual. A little sexual. I'm not Team Flop anymore. I'm Team Hard. Jade, are you ready?
We have a little surprise for you.
What?
So, I'm gonna count
Look
down,
at the door.
okay?
Open the door.
1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Thank you, Jade.
Thank you.
Let me screenshot you all really quickly.
Thank you.
Yum, 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 yum.
So it is the end of Polathon now, and it is technically Monday morning. It is 3:45 in the morning. I've edited the vlog up to now. So you know how I was telling you guys about the construction men and the scaffolding outside the house? Well, during the night it gets very windy, and the banging of the scaffolding is really loud. So last night I was actually up until I think like 6 o'clock in the morning, but I was kind of listening to, you know, like All Saints and like Spice Girls songs as well, but it was mainly because the scaffolding was quite loud. So I had such a late start on Sunday, like the last day of Polarthon. I had such a late start and I felt awful. I never sleep past 10 half the time. Even when I get to sleep at 5, I'm usually up by 10, but today I was in bed until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But the last time I updated you, it was just before my interview with Benjamin Dean, which went absolutely amazingly, by the way. I thought it was really good. I will link that down in the description box because it was just such a good interview. And then after that, me and Jay decided to do some Polathon live reading sprints. We started them at like 11 p.m. GMT and continued them until I think it was like 3 in the morning. It might be 4 in the morning. Might be 3 in the morning. I can't remember now. But yeah, they were really fun as well. And I had this ambience on in the background for that. And it was like a really nice atmosphere. So I've got it on now just to like wrap up Polathon. I keep wanting to call it Believathon. So yeah, that was Friday night. And then on Saturday, I joined all of my bays on Saturday night on Ashlee at a Frolic Through Fictions channel for some squad sprints. I left after like 2.5 hours. I had food coming and also the semi-final of The Masked Singer was on and I didn't really want to miss it. So I just watched that on catch up and it was really good. I really enjoyed The Masked Singer. So yeah, those were with Ashlee from A Frolic Through Fiction, Becca from Becca and the Books, Jade from JD Rereads, Cody from Cody's Book Corner, and Jay from Book Roast. So yeah, they went on for a lot longer than I did, but it was still really fun. It was still really fun. And then, yes, then I was up until that ridiculous time. And then today we did the final ever Polathon reading sprints with Jade, Pris, who was the mascot for Team Penguin, and Sasha from The Wild Sasha, who was the team mascot for Arctic Fox, and Aaron from Booked and Busy. She wasn't really feeling that well, so she didn't join us. But we still had a really great final live reading sprint. And it was so funny. I've put clips in from that live show. It was just great. It was so much fun. And of course it's sad that Polathon is now over. So last Polathon in 2020 I read 6 books in the week. Well, this Polathon I read 7. I read 7 books this week. Technically, okay, so I started my 7th one, did a couple of reading sprints on the last reading sprints, and I started this one in the 2nd reading sprint. I got to, I think it was around about page 200-ish when the live reading sprints ended. So, I mean, technically about 70 of those pages were read after midnight, but I'm still counting them. So I did manage to get to read all 7 of them, which means I actually have 3 books to wrap up now. The first one is The Ocean Squid Explorers Club by Alex Bell. This one I gave 4 stars. It was like a mid to low 4 stars though. I didn't think it was as good as the original Polar Bear Explorers Club trilogy, and I mean I wasn't expecting it to be honest, but I did really enjoy the setting of this. So this does follow Ursula. She's part of the Ocean Squid Explorers Club, and girls are starting to be allowed into these explorer clubs because of Stella from the Polar Bear Explorers Club series, which I think I already mentioned. But in this one the collector is trapping these clubs in snow globes, and the Ocean Squid Explorers Club, 4 of them end up going off on a mission to stop it from happening, to save the other explorer clubs, and they go in like a submarine, and it's just like really great because you get to explore like the ocean and things, whereas in the Polar Bear Explorers Club it was more Arctic settings and above water. But in this one you do see like giant squids, you do see mermaids, it's got dolphins in it, and just like lots of great stuff that you would see under the sea. So I really enjoyed it for that aspect. So I think in terms of atmosphere it was a really high read. The only thing with me is that I'm not going to spoil anything, but the ending, it just kind of made the entire book a little bit redundant, so I was kind of a little bit annoyed with that, not gonna lie. It's like they went through all of this trouble and then the end happens. So I'm not gonna say what it is. I do think this is well worth the reading. I can't wait to read the next book in this series. I had my expectations probably a little bit too high on this one, so it didn't quite live up to it. I did enjoy the characters in this though. The banter between them was really, really good. The plot was quite fast paced because they kept going to different places and you got to see loads of different things. You got to see a sunken city. There's just some things in this that I loved so much. They were just like little bits that just dragged it down for me a little bit. But still really good. If you really enjoy the Polar Bear Explorers Club, I think you will still really love this book. So please still give it a chance. I think it's well worth it. It's a good one. It's low 4 stars, but it's still pretty good. And then I read The Wolf Wilder by Catherine Rundle. I listened to this via audiobook and I started this one in the sprints on Ashlee's channel, and I gave this one like a high 3, low 4 star. It comes out at a 3 star on Corpile, but I would still, you know, my gut instinct says like a low 4 star. This one follows Theodora and she lives with her mother in Russia in like the middle of the woods, and they are wolf wilders. So that is when they take wolves in and they teach them how to fend for themselves in the wild. They are looked down upon by the Russian army for being wolf wilders, and even though wolves are like majestic beasts in like this world and like kill them's bad luck and things like that, Theodora and her mother are still like looked down upon. The Russian army ends up taking Theodora's mother away to a prison, and Theodora ends up having to fend for herself, go on this journey to save her mother, and it's like in this incredible atmospheric Russian wilderness snowy setting landscape. And honestly, for like atmosphere and setting, this is just beautiful. This is a very dark book. There are a lot of dark moments. There is death, there is, I don't really want to go into specifics about it because it is rather harrowing, but there is a lot in this that is rather dark, and I do like a middle grade that is quite dark. I don't know what it is, why I didn't give this one a bit higher. It's not the writing, because I thought the writing was still really good. It was rather fairy tale-esque, especially in the beginning. I really enjoyed the characters though. I really liked Ilya, who is a like 13-year-old Russian soldier who is like really new to it, and he ends up meeting Theodora, and they do end up striking this very unlikely friendship. And yeah, I loved Ilya by the end of it. I think maybe like some of the logic behind some of the stuff that happened in this book dragged it down, and that's probably why it was a high 3 star on Corpile. Like, some of it just didn't really make that much sense. Like Theo, she is supposed to be like a wild girl in like the middle of the woods kind of thing, but like she just makes decisions that I just think wouldn't have been genuine to her or her character. So I think that probably took me a little bit out of the story a bit, so I thought the logic kind of dragged it down a bit. But other than that, I can't really fault it too much. I liked the story, I liked the adventure aspect of it, I liked the characters well enough. It just, it didn't fully grasp me. And that I didn't want to end with this one for my last read of Polathon, so that's why I picked up another book, which was Sky Song by Abby Elphinstone. And I've been meaning to read this for such a long time. This one is set in Erkenwald, which is ruled by this evil Ice Queen. We end up following Eska, who was a prisoner from the Ice Queen, and then Flint ends up saving her, and they end up having to try and escape her grasp for one, but they also need a way to defeat the Ice Queen, so they go through the kingdom on this like incredible adventure again to destroy her before she takes the voices of everyone in the kingdom so that she can become immortal. Eska and Flint are joined by a couple of other kids for their adventure, so we had like, it was a little bit like Wolf Wilder in that regard, where we had just a group of kids on this adventure trying to defeat evil kind of thing. So firstly, I mean, I absolutely loved Eska as a character. I thought she was very strong-willed, and I wasn't sure what to think at first because she does come across as very timid and doesn't really seem to know what's going on. She has kind of lost her memory. But as the novel goes on, she just started to find her inner strength, her inner power, and I loved seeing her grow as a character. I don't think I've done my co-pile of this one yet, so I don't know actually what this comes out at. I think on gut instinct, I'm giving it a 4-star, but probably like a mid 4-star, maybe a high 4-star. I don't know if I prefer this one over Rumblestar by Abby Elphinstone. I really enjoyed Rumblestar. I love the setting in this. I love the snowy, icy world of this. There was a moment in this with like this ice spider. I did have to like listen to this on 3x speed during the reading sprints and read along physically, and I found that I could read at that speed as long as I'm physically reading, but as soon as I put the book down, it was just blah, blah, blah. So I had to read this physically as well as audibly. But after the sprints had finished, I just picked up the book and read it myself, because I wasn't like on a timer anymore. I was like on a deadline. I really enjoyed the Ice Queen as a villain. We see her trying to get these kids because Eska has this incredible voice that the Ice Queen is after. So like she's very important to her in order to become immortal. So to see her desperation, to see her journey as well, trying to get these kids and making sure that she can succeed in her evil goal and take over the kingdom is really interesting to read. And I really enjoy a middle grade book with a definite villain, and she was a definite villain. I love the prologue and the epilogue as well. They both had this like lyrical kind of style to it, so I thought it was really good at setting up the story. I did really enjoy the world in this. There were different tribes, so there were like different parts of the world that just felt a little bit different to each other. A little bit of world building as well, with like some backstory and some history of the kingdom and the things that happened. So there was like some political things, there was murder and all of that good stuff in the past that still having effects on all of the tribes today. So I enjoyed stuff like that. I thought even though it's a bit of a shorter book, I felt like there was enough world building in this to make the world feel quite believable, even though it's like so imaginative as well. But it was a really great world to visit. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it like blew me out of the waters. I don't think it did anything like too different to what I usually read. So I could see where the story was going a little bit for some of this, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think I kind of just got involved enough in the story and the characters that I kind of knew what they would do. And I think that's a good reflection of the writing style and how accessible it is to get in tune with the characters and really get on board with the characters. So I'm not going to mark it down too much for a little bit of a predictable plot, but I'm going to say that I just really enjoyed this one. It was really entertaining. A perfect Polathon read, I think, and one that I can genuinely recommend now, because I think I was taking so long to read this, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. So there we have it. Those are the 7 books that I read this week for Polathon. Got some brand new absolute favourites. So Root Magic is definitely one of my new favourite books now, even though it wasn't polar at all. It still fit a prompt, okay? It still fit in a prompt. But I'm really happy with this. I'm really, really happy with this. I got to take 7 books off my TBR this week, and they were all great middle grades. Like even, like, what was my least favourite of the week? Was it The Language of Ghosts? No, I think maybe The Wolf Wild and The Language of Ghosts were my absolute favourites this week. But I still really enjoyed them. I still had a good experience reading them. I would still recommend them. It's just, it was a bit of a tough week in terms of competition for these books, because once I read Root Magic, it was over for the rest of them, not gonna lie. I mean, it's been an up and down kind of week. We had, power cuts, we had construction men, we had noise, we had ghostly things happen with like light bulbs falling down from the ceiling at 2 o'clock in the morning. But it was filled with like reading sprints and just spending time with friends and just like nice competition as well. I thought it was really fun. But yeah, I had a blast. I hope you guys did as well. That's Polathon over for now. I can't wait for the next one, which there might be a summer Polathon happening. Really, really excited for that one. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like if you did and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment. Let me know if you partook in Polathon and what your favourite book of Polathon was. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Yum, 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 yum.